What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 5 games that I played in 2019 that were retro games that I loved. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. Okay, so I've got 5 games for you guys that I think you will definitely enjoy. Now, some of these games were remastered and re-released, and those are the ones I'm going to show you, but some of them are also old games. I'm talking Nintendo 64 games, I'm talking PlayStation Portable games for the Sony, I've got some Genesis games coming at you, and a Game Boy game as well. So stick around to the end to find out about all 5 of them, but honestly, 2 of them are re-releases because honestly they were awesome and they came out and were re-released for the Switch, and that is something I absolutely love. So what I'm gonna do is talk about the older games and then bring it back around with the Nintendo Switch games, and honestly I had fun with all of these games, and I want you guys to comment down below what the 5 games that you played this year in 2019 that you enjoyed. So let's check out the first game. Okay, so this first game is a game you guys have heard me talk about way too much on this channel, and I play through this game all the time, and I don't know, I can never get enough of it, and that's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Now, people love all the Tony Hawk games, or at least the old ones, and this is technically my favorite one. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is such a blast to play. It's so much fun. I can plug it in, spend 5 minutes or spend 5 hours on it, and I will always enjoy playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. So if you like skateboarding games, I highly suggest it. If you like skateboarding games and you've never played it, like seriously, what are you doing? You need to stop what you're doing and go get this game and play it, because I love everything about it. The graphics are pretty good for the Nintendo 64. Now, some people like to say they play it on other consoles and it's better, but for me, that nostalgia hits me hard, and I play it on the 64, and that's where I get the most fun. But it looks cool, it sounds cool, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. If you like punk or hip-hop or rock or anything like that, this is definitely for you. It's got a great mix of soundtrack, of music for the game. It goes well with the game. It's upbeat, it keeps you pumped for what you're doing, and honestly I love the game. It's got some cool maps, it's got some cool people in it, and it even has cool missions that you have to go through and complete, and you earn cash for each mission that you do complete, and then you get to move on to the next level whenever you have a certain amount of cash to spend, and you go on and go through the game like that. There are some maps that are competitions, so you have to compete and get certain scores. You do tricks to get huge amount of points if you do it right. When you combo them all together and twist and flip and all that stuff that happens, it makes for something wild, and for some reason this game is just a solid game from start to finish, and I love everything about it. So my first game that I'm talking about is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and that is because it is my favorite Tony Hawk's game, and I always play it. So that was the first game that I made on this list. Okay, so number 2 is yet again another Nintendo 64 game, and that is because the 64 is an awesome system. You can even see it here. Actually, it just turned out perfectly that it was there. But I picked up a game this year that I had never played before, and that is battletanx Global Assault. Now, I had played the first one before and absolutely loved it, so I definitely had to get my hands on this game. I picked it up, and man, was I ecstatic about this. Now, this is a very simple game, but it's a very fun game, and multiplayer is the absolute best with this. But what you basically do is you're given a mission and you're a tank. So you drive around and destroy things. Like, what else do I need to say? Does that not sound like enough fun for you guys? But you take this, you go through the game, you play and destroy buildings, destroy certain things, you've got to make your way through maps. All of it is awesome. Now, it does lack in graphics, which I would love to see a battletanx game be remade like some of these other games. But honestly, this game is still a ton of fun. The music is very monotonous and drones in and out on the background, which is something that I think it could benefit from having better music. But the gameplay is overall awesome. I love it. It controls well. Everything about it is super duper awesome. Now, the one thing that makes this game a better game is that multiplayer. Getting your friends together and playing and destroying them or being beaten by them, all of that makes this game even better. And I remember one of my friends actually, who's not really into retro games, introduced me to battletanx, and ever since I've played battletanx, I wanted this one, and honestly, I'm super happy that I picked it up because this game is totally awesome, and I think you should definitely play it. So, my number 2 is battletanx Global Assault on the Nintendo 64. You gotta pick it up. Okay, so this third game is a game that, yet again, you guys have heard me talk about on this channel if you've paid attention at all, and that is the Sony PSP version of God of War Chains of Olympus. Now, I'm a big fan of God of War. I loved it when it came out, but I never played it on the PSP. So whenever I saw that game, I was like, I'll probably enjoy this. Wow, did I enjoy this. I don't know what it is, but going through and whipping people with chains, destroying things, the background is interactive in some points, climbing out, trying to find where you have to platform at some point. I don't know. This game wrapped together so well. I literally went out to find the second game, and I found it, 2 of them in a matter of like 2 weeks. So I'm not gotten into the second one yet, but God of War Chains of Olympus is a game that I absolutely love to play. I should probably talk about reviewing this in the future on this channel, more in depth of course, but that was a game that I played this year that was absolutely fun. So if you have a PSP and you love God of War, I definitely suggest you check this game out because I had so much fun, and it was a game that I will probably replay here in the future because I enjoyed it so much. It is an awesome game. The graphics don't really look that bad. It's a PSP game, so it's portable, so you could literally take it wherever you want, and that's what I did with this game. I took it where I wanted, played it when I wanted, and I absolutely loved it. So I think you guys should definitely think about picking up God of War Chains of Olympus because I had so much fun with it. Okay, so this next game is one that came out and it was well known and everyone went out in droves and picked it up, and that is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I'm calling this a retro game because it is. This is the remake from the Game Boy version, and the Game Boy version is awesome, but the graphics on this thing turned it into a masterpiece, and I love the game. Now, it was a masterpiece back then, don't get me wrong, with the 8-bit kind of 16-bit graphics, but this takes it to a new level. Everyone complained about the graphics. I loved them. This game turned out to be so much fun, and I loved everything about it. I think that you guys should definitely think about getting this game. Now, it's a Zelda game. I don't have to explain it to you. You go out and do mini quests, hit up dungeons, and have a ton of fun. But this is one that I had played on the Game Boy, but I hadn't played it through all the way. So this year, I decided to pick this up and play it through, and man, was it awesome. So I think it needs to be one of those games that you add to your list. Now, I love the Switch aspect because you could take it anywhere, which means you could play it whenever you want. That's something I love. You could do that with the Game Boy as well. So either copy, if you get the Game Boy copy or the Nintendo Switch copy, I think you will have a ton of fun. So with that being said, that is why this is the 4th one. I'm not going to talk about it too much because you know about Zelda, obviously, if you're watching this channel. If you don't, check out some videos about it. But Link's Awakening was such a great game, and that's why it needed to be on this list for me for 2019. Okay, so this year I had played a ton of retro games, and this list was hard for me to make, But most of these games, if not all of these games, are some of my favorites in the series. But this one is kind of an interesting thing, and that is the remake of Aladdin and Lion King. Now this was on the Sega Genesis. That's where I remember all of this from. There was a Super Nintendo version, and there's actually a Game Gear version of Aladdin. But this is where it's at. You've got so much you can do. There's so many different copies of the game that are different that are on this, and I think you definitely need to check it out. This is also something that I love because it took kind of what the NES Classic did with save states, and you can do that with this as well, which is totally awesome. Now I'm expecting these two games to come to the Nintendo Switch eventually on like maybe the SNES versions or something on the SNES Online, but I love this so much. It was so much fun, and I recently took a trip. I took this with me, and I played both of these, honestly. I had so much fun, and I loved everything about it. That Aladdin game is one of my all-time favorite Sega Genesis games. The Lion King game is great as well. I think you should definitely check out both of them. They're cheap if you buy them on the Sega Genesis. You can buy them loose copy or with a cart or with the case for pretty cheap and have a ton of fun. But if you're like me and you have a Switch and you want to take it on the go, I definitely suggest you pick this up because it looks so great and there's so many different opportunities. You can also purchase the Super Nintendo versions. I would shy away from Aladdin on the Game Gear. Don't play that. It's not what you expect. But I love this game. Both of these games are great platformers, and they're so much fun with the music and the lore from the movies. Everything about this is awesome. So that is one game, well, two games in one cartridge. So I wanted to add that to the list. Aladdin and the Lion King on the Nintendo Switch was just so awesome. Okay, so there you have it. 5 games, well, 6 that I played this year that were retro games, both on retro consoles and current gen consoles, that I absolutely love. So I want to know what 5 games that you played this year in 2019, whether it's retro, whether it's new, I don't care. I want to know your top 5 games that you have played. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification because it lets you know when I post videos, which is every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and occasionally one on Monday, but you haven't gotten that in a while. So I want to say thank you so much for watching one last time, and make sure you have a good day.